All right, so we're going to do a few jobs here. So I didn't have any power brakes. I already actually replaced this. This was, I don't know if you remember, was broken, and I just kind of tried to seal it up as best I could. So I actually replaced that. That didn't do anything. So the problem I am having is when I push my brake pedal down, it doesn't come all the way back up. Like the last half inch or so just won't come up on it. So I don't know if that has something to do with the power brakes. I don't know if it has something to do with the rod that it's on, and it just needs to loosen up. I had the same problem with my clutch. It was doing the same thing. Eventually that stopped, and it started coming up once I started using it more and more and more. So what I'm hoping is I can get under there, grease it up. I'm gonna throw some white lithium grease in there. I had bought this return spring for the clutch because I thought maybe that's what it was that was worn out. So I never actually used it. And the return spring for the clutch is the same as the return spring for the brake. So I'll replace that. I got a little cap for the one that's missing in there. That's the replacement for that window switch. And then this, my temperature gauge was kind of flying all over the place, and this was the one gauge that I did not, or one sensor that I did not replace in the engine. So I went ahead and got one of those, and I'm gonna replace that as well. So that is going to be what we're gonna try to work on today, and hopefully we can get that pedal loosened up so it returns. Because the problem I'm having is when that pedal doesn't return, the brakes stay on just a little bit. And if you pull the pedal back with your foot, it completely releases the brake. So I don't know what's going on. People have said I might have air in my brake lines, and that's why. It could be my brake booster itself. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to loosen that up and put that new spring in there, see if that helps. If that doesn't, I'm going to try to bleed my brakes. Elliot Grafton also said sometimes the seal on the master cylinder can leak brake fluid into the booster and not let it return all the way. So that'll be another thing I check, is I'll see if there's any brake fluid in there. Not from my new one, but from the old one that's still sitting in there, because I never checked inside the brake booster to see if there was brake fluid. Who would have thought, right? So we'll try to do that then as well. And then last resort, we'll be buying a new brake booster. Okay, so I got up under there, kind of took a look at it. I don't think it's the pin, and I don't think it's the return spring. Not to mention they're hard to get to. But what I did do was I replaced that valve. I am getting vacuum out of that valve. It's sucking when the car's running. So my booster is out. My booster is bad. So I've got to replace that booster. So I'm going to order that, and I'll do that project and see if it fixes the return part of it, which I'm hoping it will. But at least that should give me power brakes. And if it doesn't, then I will start going through and looking at the underneath, because when I put that booster in, I'm going to have to bleed the whole system anyway. So, yeah. So I will just, I'll order that part, and we'll get a new brake booster in, and hopefully that'll fix the return and should fix the power brakes. Let's see. The other thing was I got that new engine sensor in. So I ended up removing this spark plug boot, and I ended up just taking the hoses or the clamps off the J-boot and moving it out of the way. I didn't have to take it all the way off in order to get to it. Interesting though, that's a 12 millimeter bolt head. Not a 10, not a 13, it's a 12. Isn't that weird? So I'll work on the window switch, and I'll put that other little thing in, and we'll be done with this until that brake booster comes in, and that'll be a pretty big job. The other thing was my horn wasn't working. What I'm thinking is this part right here, see how it's bent in? I don't think it was bent out far enough and it wasn't making contact with that ring. So we'll just bend that out, put the wheel back on, and see if the horn works. So before I put the steering wheel back in, got this carpet and it keeps riding forward. So I'm gonna try this. So I'm gonna try to clip this on underneath the seat under one of the rungs, and then this, and then try to clamp the back of that and see if that'll stop it from moving forward. I'm hoping that it will. I'm hoping it's hard enough that it'll stop. So we'll see. All right, new window switches in. Goes up. Goes down. So it's that switch that's bad. So the horn works now, so that's what it was. It was that little tab that just wasn't pulled out far enough. Easy fix. All right, well, the brake booster has arrived and we are going to work on getting this in. I am going to put out on the Facebook group this foam right here. Is that supposed to stay in there? I don't know. To me, it looks like it's just put in there to hold this piece during shipping. So I don't know if that's supposed to come out or not. There's no directions to take it out. And it looks like came with the new seal and bolts for the master cylinder. I guess I'll replace it. I replaced the master cylinder when I did the brakes to begin with, and it had a new seal, but I guess since I got another one, I might as well replace it, right? So we'll start working on that and see if this fixes the brake pedal and the power brake problem. All right, getting ready to start this brake booster. Got lucky. It rained. It's nice and cool here today. It's like 60 degrees. So these are actually what I was jacking the car up on. And it actually works pretty well, so I can get my butt sitting on that and I can get up underneath a lot easier. And I don't have to struggle and everything. We're going to see how bad it is with the steering wheel in. I might take the steering wheel out. Just because it seemed to be easier to get in and out without the wheel in the way. But we'll see. So, the first thing I have to do is make sure I can get the clevis off of the brake pedal underneath. And also loosen the 3 bolts that hold the brake booster bracket. Because there's actually, you don't attach the brake booster. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. But there's actually a bracket here that the brake booster attaches to, and the bracket then attaches inside. I don't know why they did that. Kind of curious that they did that. So I've got to get the bolts off of there. And before I drain everything and I do all of that, I want to make sure that I can get those off. Then I'll drain the brake fluid. I'll take the master cylinder off, and then we can get the brake booster out and the new one in. So that is the plan, Stan. All right, so you can see I took the seat out. Right into the first problem, that clevis that attaches to the brake pedal, the pin that's in there is rusted. So obviously I'm going to be spending a lot of time underneath there to get that. So I just took the seat out. It was just easier just to take the seat out. So that way I can lay down, I can be comfortable and just kind of keep working at it. So we'll keep going. So, major problem, I cannot get that pin out of the brake pedal. And I also can't get the brake pedal off the pin that it sits at the top and swivels. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to try to figure it out. So I ordered M bolts from Amazon. And this is how the package comes. it's just not my day. So then I look at this. This is closed, but it's broken over on the hinges. So that'll be going back, and I'll order another one. Well, I am done for the day. I'm going to clean up, but what a nightmare that this has absolutely turned into. So everything was completely rusted together. I couldn't get anything to move. I did get the bolts for the booster to go, so I know I'll be able to get those off. But as far as trying to get the threads out of the clevis or get the clevis off the brake, nope. And now what I ended up doing, because this is the only thing I could think of, was I cut here, so I'll be able to get the booster out. And then I was just going to take the brake pedal off. But now the brake pedal doesn't want to come off. It doesn't want to slide off the end. It moved a little bit, and that was it. And now it won't slide off the rest of the way. And I can't get it off for the life of me. So now I'm stuck with that. It has just been a nightmare. So I'm going to quit for the day. Because if I can get that brake pedal off, I can work on getting the clevis and all that stuff off on the bench where it's going to be a lot easier. But of course the brake pedal won't slide off the rod. It just, everything with this has been a nightmare. So, yeah, I'm done for the day with it. All right, so today I'm going to work on getting the master cylinder and the brake booster just out of the car. I need to give my back a break. I spent 4 hours underneath this car yesterday trying to get all this stuff off. So I'll have to get back under there to get the bolts for the booster, but my arms are tore up. I've got rug burn on my arms from rubbing up against this carpet. So I think we're going to work above ground here today, and let's see what we can accomplish. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to pull all the brake fluid as much as I can out of the reservoir, and go ahead and start untaching the lines and try to get that master cylinder out of there. All right, so we got the master cylinder out. You do have to take the airbox off in order to get it out. So that is done, and now we'll work on loosening the 3 bolts for behind the power booster and hopefully get that out. All right, so brake booster's out. This is the way stuff is supposed to go. I mean, seriously, that took 45 minutes maybe for me to get the brake booster out. So that was fine. But yeah, I don't know why things have to be so difficult, but I guess they do. So I still have that pedal to deal with. I got to get that pedal off. Once I get that pedal off, I can either try to fix it and get the rusted pieces out, or I could just buy a used one. So if I have to destroy the pedal to get it out, then so be it. But yeah, I mean, brake booster is out, and no problem. We'll just get these nuts off. We'll clean this up and go from there. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. See the bottom of this? You could hear stuff moving around inside, but it's all wet down there at the bottom. So who knows? Brake fluid from the old master cylinder might have gotten in there or whatever, but we'll work on getting this taken off and taken care of. Okay, this came off real easy, so I went ahead and cleaned it up with the wire brush. as you can see, and then I just put some of this rust neutralizer on it. I'll put a second coat on, and then I'll just spray it black, just to protect it. Hopefully keep that rust from going any further. So, I don't know. Debating whether or not to start working on that damn brake pedal again, or do I just want to call it a day since I've had such a good day already. I gotta kind of wait and see if I can get a whole brake pedal with the clevis and all that stuff. Once I know I can, maybe then I'll start working on it, just because if I have to destroy it, then I know I've got one coming and I can work through that. So, I think we're going to call it a day.
So I want to just show the problem that I'm having. So this is that brake pedal that I am trying to get off of that pole. You can see how rusty the pole is, the rod is, right? So as I was getting it off, it has stopped right there. And I can't get it to push any further. See, it started coming off of this bearing there on the right. And I just can't get it pushed over any further. So I don't know how I'm going to get it off of that rod. But that's the problem. And then as you can see, that clevis, that's where I ended up cutting it. But that's so rusty, that doesn't come out. So that's the problem I'm having. So that's why I need to get that off. And the thing didn't turn real good anyway. So I am working on that.
Here's a picture of the brake pedal down at the bottom. You can see how that rod goes through. There's the two bushings, they're extra bearings or whatever you want to call them. Those are those little plastic pieces, then a washer, and then a little clip, because there's a little notch on the end, and that's what holds the brake pedal in. Well, I've taken out that clip, taken off the washer, and trying to push that brake pedal, and now it's caught right on that little bitty place where the clip goes, and I can't get it off, and it's driving me nuts.